Hey guys, I'm Dave, and I want to welcome you back to the My Gun Values YouTube channel here. Today we're going to do something a little unusual. Of course, that's my middle name. We're going to talk about a Mossberg 835 waterfowl model pump shotgun. This gun, it is still available, although not in this exact form. I believe the camo pattern's different, if memory serves, what the difference is. But this gun has been around long enough for me to form some really good opinions on it, how it works, its strengths and its weaknesses. And so I wanted to go over it with you. I'll discuss its likes, its dislikes. As I got ready to shoot this video today, the heavens opened up and surprise, surprise, it's pouring down rain again. So, and my camera operator had to leave. So we're going to go with just a discussion of it for now. We will shoot this gun in the future. I'm in the process of reworking my range. Still trying to get it dried out. We haven't had enough dry weather for me to get out there. So I've been borrowing a buddy's range, which is okay for handguns and rifles, but it does not lend itself to shotguns at all. So, without further ado, let's discuss the vitals on this shotgun. It is patterned in Advantage by Realtree camo pattern. I believe it's Realtree. Hold on. Excuse me, Advantage Max 4. I apologize. It is chambered for the 3.5 inch, 12 gauge shotgun shell. Will of course shoot 2 3/4 or 3 inch equally well. In fact, 3 inch is probably a better choice, but I'll get to that in a minute. If you're gonna break it down, we'll do that for those of you who don't know. You unscrew the nut here, take it off, rack that back, pull, and the barrel comes off for cleaning. You can get down into the guts of the action and everything else. Check ring, it's a synthetic stock, lightweight, ventilated recoil pad that, you know, doesn't fit perfect. It never has. The recoil pad's a little proud to the action. You know, it's not a collector's item. It's a utilitarian shotgun, so it's not the end of the world. But over the time I've had this gun, and it's seen about 10 years worth of use now for some upland and mostly waterfowl hunting. One advantage of having property where part of it floods part of the year is you have built-in duck and goose hunting. So, tang safety, forwards fire, backs unsafe. Weakness number one, it comes with a fiber optic insert here in the sight, or at least it used to. The original lasted exactly half of one season, and it literally broke while it was being shot. It was there for one pass of ducks. The next pass came over about 10 seconds later because we had them coming in from two different directions, and the fiber optic insert was gone. Mossberg didn't offer just the fiber optic insert, so I went looking and looking, and I found one, pressed it in, and again the recoil, I've pressed 2 or 3 into this thing over the years, and the recoil, they don't last very long, and they break. So then I happened to be at our local sporting goods store one day, and they had these snap over the rib sights, little longer, and the fiber optic in that did last a little better until I dropped it, which was my own fault. And what I discovered was after that, after going through 3 or 4 different sight permutations in like 4 years of using this gun, is that using this as the holes in here as a peep sight actually worked relatively well. My eye, for some reason, I'm able to focus on this, and it gives me really good accuracy. But if you're really hooked up on that red or green, this was originally green, fiber optic insert, that has proven to be a weakness on this gun. Vent rib barrel. It's probably had, between trap, hunting, and just general starling control around the place here, this has probably had between 750 and 1,000 rounds down the tube in the years I've owned it. The other weakness was a little more concerning, and I'm not going to take the gun back apart to show it to you, but I will describe it. There's a roll pin at the back of the receiver here that the whole action recoils against. You have to take the buttstock off to get into it and access it. And one day the gun simply quit feeding, quit pumping, quit doing everything properly. And I took the gun apart, and that roll pin had simply come out under recoil. What I did, because I was in a hurry, I was going hunting the next day, I peened it over, or I put it back in, peened it over a little bit to hold it in there, and it's been fine ever since. But that's another, that could be a weak point of the gun also. Nobody else, I have several friends, and I know several people that have Mossbergs, use them fairly heavily. Nobody else has ever had that problem, so for now we're going to assume it's unique to my gun. So we'll put her back together here. It goes back together easier if you have the action open. Let's see, 28-inch barrel, ported. Let's see if that'll show up on the camera. You know, in practicality on this gun, I told you earlier it's chambered for a 3.5-inch shell. What I have found, however, is that for any duck hunting at any practical range, 3 inch is all you need. The 2 3/4 steel doesn't, it has its weaknesses, but the 3 inch and the 3.5, I've really noticed no effective difference in killing power, you know, range or anything else. I don't shoot. Occasionally, I have some 3.5s hanging around here. I'll load a box of 3.5 number 4s, and I'll put that number 4 in as my third shell, so I have a little more shot if they happen to get out there. But it has not proven to be really helpful. As I was talking about that, I thought about something else with this gun, and don't you know it, that senior moment kicked in and away she went. If you rack the action and you want to eject the shell, there's a release lever right there, so you can open her back up. This gun ejects very well. I don't think I've ever had a feeding jam. Once I fixed that one problem, I've never had a feeding jam or an ejection jam on this gun of any type. It has screw-in choke tubes, although I got to admit, I can go get the choke tube wrench, and the choke tubes are not where I can get at them, but not easily. I keep the full in here because I do use it for waterfowl hunting. So, oh, I know where I was going to go with that. Okay. One thing that's really important is to pattern your shotgun. A lot of guys think shotguns, and I used to be one of these, think shotguns just miraculously you know, they put the shot out there and they're going to hit what they aim at. I'm going to tell you a little story with this gun that happened to me that'll change your mind. Went out a few years ago. My friend and I were jump shooting ducks out of some local ponds out here, and not having really good luck. And we just put it down to the fact they were long shots. And I should mention that I had run out of the ammunition I had bought, which was Winchester 3-inch shells, and the our local store had a bunch of Estate by Kent, fairly inexpensive shells, so I went with them. You know, false economy. And wasn't hitting anything. My buddy had borrowed the gun, or borrowed some of the ammunition. He hit a couple, but they weren't good solid hits. And the thing that really gave it away was when we were walking out, a grouse flew up into a tree, and he was out there about 25 yards from us and just sat there, as grouse will do, and look at you. And I had a dead beat on him, nothing in the way, shot him, big puff of feathers from his chest, and he flew away. He absolutely flew away, never saw him again, he was gone. So when I got back here, I decided that enough was enough, and I put up some targets. And I shot this thing 5 times, and we shot my buddies 5 times. My buddies patterned the Kent number 2s relatively well. My gun, all 5 times, every shot, it literally looked like somebody had taken the target, and I should have been thinking ahead, and I should have a target here. But somebody had taken a 2x4, laid it across the target with a knot hole right smack in the middle on the bullseye, because every bit of that shot was on each side of that 2x4 with one hole in the middle. That was what it looked like, as it looked like there was a 2x4 right down the middle. I don't know what it was. I switched to I'd also bought a box of number 4s, switched off to the number 4s. Gun shot beautiful. Patterned well, no more problems killing ducks. Killed a few geese with those number 4s, and again, that was steel shot. This was, you know, not too many years ago. So, you know, it's very important that you pattern your shotgun. So, I've got this out, and this is how I cheat. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is a trigger pull gauge. You have to push it twice. It's digital. Sometimes I have to admit that the ones that you lock the spring on that RCBS makes are preferable, but this is what we've got to work with. So first of all, if I remember right, this gun weighs something on the order of about 8.5 pounds. 7 3/4. And yes, this works. This is a kind of a cheating way to do it, but so what I normally do is take the average of 3 pulls on the gauge. Now, it's very important that you take each one the same way, apply pressure the same way, pull the same way. Okay, 6 pounds, 11 ounces. We'll reset it. Six pounds, 15 ounces, if that's showing up on the camera. And 7 pounds, 4.5 ounces. If you average that out, that's about 6 pounds, 15 ounces. Again, on shotgun, trigger pull is not a huge deal. These are not a precision weapon. I mean, you just got to put the cloud of shot relatively close. But that's the weaknesses and the strengths I've noticed on this gun. It has done very well. It's probably killed 20 or 25 pheasant. It's probably killed, half a dozen grouse over the years. And it's probably done a dozen geese and a couple hundred ducks over the years I've owned it. So, and it's, you know, like I said, other than that one thing, those two things with the sight and the roll pin back here at the back of the receiver, it's always functioned very well. I believe, if I remember right, I paid like $400 for this gun, $450 back in the early 2000s. So, you know, it's definitely a decent firearm. Very accurate with clay shooting, although I have another, or trap shooting, although I have another gun that I much prefer for trap shooting just because of the way it acts. But for, you know, fast repeat shots, follow-ups, everything, this gun will do everything you want it to do. When I'm shooting trap or clays or upland birds, I stick with 2 3/4 ammunition, usually number 7.5, 6s or 7s or 7.5s. You know, I don't see any reason to go bigger than that. It will usually do the job. I do have some 3-inch number 4s lead that I loaded years ago for backers. Again, the first shell in, I use that 3-inch. Or I'll load that 3-inch shell with the number 4s, and then if I get down and I need that extra range, there have been a couple times where I believe it's helped, but most of the time if you hit what you're aiming at the first or second shot, it's not necessary. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a review. You know, I was gonna get out the thrower because it's not hunting season right now, obviously. I was going to get out the thrower and throw some clays and show you how we could do and see how much I can embarrass myself. But didn't work out that way. I don't like dragging my guns out in the rain, so we'll shoot this another day. But like I said, Mossberg 835, if you're looking for a good utility shotgun, get the job done. You know, for the price, this isn't a bad weapon. So if you have any comments or questions, hey, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and post them here, or you can check us out at www.mygunvalues.com. Thanks for watching.